Good afternoon, boys and girls, friends and lovers, children of all ages. Welcome to Denver, Colorado. This is Sam Brash with Colorado Public Radio and Ian Thomas DeFoya with the Green Latinos. We're here live at Denver Elections. We're going to be doing a turn-in here. So welcome, join until we have our little speeches and all that fancy pants stuff, and watch the excitement.
What do you know specifically about the air monitoring that's happening that Suncor is doing? Do you know anything about that?
Well, I mean, I think Suncor is trying to measure what's coming off of its own plant, right? We know most of what's coming off of their plant. I do not know the exact chemicals. My guess would be benzene and some of these others that are critically important for us to measure. We know there's no safe level of benzene. We know that those chemicals are directly connected to so many others that are more harmful, like hydrogen cyanide.
They're doing pretty positive. You're cool with Suncor doing this, and I feel like it's important.
I hope all the other corporations see what's happening and they need to take some corporate responsibility. We need to do away with self-reporting. We need third-party analysis. We need community-based monitoring. We need fence line monitoring. It all needs to work together. And yeah, I do think the corporations have to pick up the bill.
Okay. I think that first. But yeah, as you learn about it, just
Okay. I'll read about it after.
yeah.
All right, so
We're live, just so you know.
we're gonna go this way.
That would be best, I think. It's a nice mural, isn't it?
Yeah, let's flip around. It's a beautiful piece of artwork.
I'm a big fan.
You wanna go?
So close to being ready and just dying. 10 people who got like 1 to 5 signatures. Sure. Okay. You guys want to stand behind the podium and do your little spielio?
Yeah, but you're first.
Oh man, are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding. Come on, Samak, up here. You want to talk, right?
I don't have anything prepared,
New leaders.
but I could.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
You start. I'm starting.
Might as well. You're the one who wrote it.
I was one of the people that wrote it. That's your plan, Adam? Okay. It's loud enough that you can hear me?
Yeah, they should.
Okay. Well, we're really excited to be here with you today. I'm Ian Thomas Tafoya with Waste No More, a committee, a group of people from the community who came together during COVID at the darkest times, knowing we had to move on climate action, knowing that nobody wants to talk about waste, knowing that waste adds up. It's in our communities every day, whether we're talking about the city not picking up for the unhoused or nobody having access to it when they come to stay here and visit, or people in apartment buildings. It's just simply inequitable. And so we knew that the government planned on for this for 30 years, and so we decided we were going to run an omnibus bill. We went to work writing it, and when we started, we literally were at a fence or 6 feet distance. Felt like we were on the other side of a fence from people, you know, trying to have a conversation, trying to convince them to take climate action, taking the risk to even use a clean pen that they weren't sure. You know, it was a time when it became clear to us that we could dig deep, and here we are now, we're about to turn in 17,000 signatures. We only need 9,100, so we couldn't have done it without everybody else. So I want to thank Tyler and Jiva and Emily and just so many people. Brandon, of course, Redmeyer, who worked on Denver Green Roofs. You know, several people here in this group worked on Green Roofs in 2017 when we took on putting solar panels on. And what's clear to us is we want to tell the city council, we want to tell the mayor, the community has been leading. We'd like you to come with us. The International Panel for Climate Change has told us this is the end of the road right now. And so we have to dig deep. With that, I want to introduce Hilda Nucete, who helped do a lot of the work on the back end. She's a Colorado Health Equity Commissioner, former member of Denver Sustainability Board, and ready to make moves for us and for the community by doing the work ourselves.
Thank you so much, Ian. This is such an important time in our city to be able to elevate the voices of the community members that have been fighting every day to create more equity across the board. Recycling and composting is the first step that we must take to create accessibility to all individuals in our community, to be able to do as simple as being able to reutilize resources that can benefit us in the future, reducing methane emissions in our communities. That's what happens when we're not composting. We're not making sure that all this waste is put to good use. We know that the recycling, and when it comes to the construction industry, our city continues to grow. But demolition and construction, those are not materials that are being recycled adequately. And it is so important that we're elevating the voices of community members, construction workers that have been telling us we can't throw as much trash as we want in a day as an individual compared to the trash that is being thrown away by these industries. So it is so important, this citizen-led initiative, primarily led by young people of color, elevating the voices of Denverites that have been asking for over a decade to bring recycling and composting to the city. And it's time. It's time now. We have 17,000 signatures, surpassed the goal, and we're here to submit them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Hilda. The other thing that we want to make really clear is when we started this campaign, we saw this as an opportunity to train a new generation of Denverites. We saw many people come forward since the George Floyd protests into leadership. This is a tool that everyone can use. From criminal justice reform to housing policy or the environment, the skills that we've taught the youth here can be transferable. I think the thing that's so amazing is we trained, I think, more than 50 youth organizers, young people of color, and guess what? People from the suburbs. So I hope you're ready in the suburbs to get some of the action that we taught them. But really our main instructor, our person who did incredible work, who had a chance to work on 112 with Colorado Rising, Brian Loma.
Thank you, Ian, and thank you for the opportunity. To think about the community effort to bring recycling and composting to all in Denver, from the Mercury Cafe, 70 years ago, doing composting on a regular basis, to the Civic Center Conservancy, utilizing Civic Center Eats as an example of what three-stream infrastructure can look like for the simplicity of everybody to utilize. I'm just proud to be part of this movement. Realistically, as Denver grows, we're growing upward. Currently, the regulations don't require that apartment buildings have recycling chutes like they have trash chutes. And when I go out to, a new Denver after COVID, I want to have a recycling bin for my beer can or my cup. It's just that simple. And in 2018, we know that over 31 million people spent one day minimum consuming in the city and county of Denver. And pretty much it's 31 million people who didn't have access to effective waste management practices. We know that when a recycling bin is put out, when a compost bin is put out, people will slow down, they'll read the signs, and they'll put their materials in the right bins. And with this measure, our goal is to bring this access to everybody in Denver. I'm glad you're part of the team.
Yeah, and then lastly, we want to let Daniela come up and speak for a second. Daniela worked on Denver Green Roofs Initiative with us. Were you still in high school then, or just out of high school?
Just starting college.
Just starting college. This campaign, we actually had 16-year-olds who were out caring for us. I mean, when we're talking about young people learning how to use the tools of democracy, we saw that. And Daniela's had a chance to work on several campaigns with us, so we just wanted to give her an opportunity.
Thanks, Ian. I was just so so happy that I could join on with this campaign. I was able to get almost 2,000 signatures, which is the most I've ever gotten for any campaign. And it really hits home because, yeah, when I was in high school, I lived in an apartment complex where we didn't have recycling in the alley. And me and my mom took our recycling to the drop-off center. When I was in college, I helped with the enforcement of Boulder's Universal Zero Waste Ordinance with an internship, and was so inspired. I finally had access to recycling and compost in my alleyway. And then it was so amazing to be able to join in on this campaign and help bring the same access to Denver. It was an amazing experience talking to so many thousands and thousands of people in Denver, and just hearing so many people say, oh yeah, I don't have recycling at home. I don't have recycling in my apartment. I haven't had it for 3 years. Or I would love to start composting, but I just don't have it where I live. So that just showed me how important it was that we were working on this. And I also heard from lots of people also who just moved here and that said that they were shocked how poor Denver's recycling system was and how it was so difficult for them to find recycling and compost compared to where they lived before. So yeah, all of that. And then I guess one thing that I really care about with this is like the resource use and how, like, because we're going to have more recycling in the city of Denver, that means that less raw materials are needing to be mined from the earth, less trees are going to need to be cut down from forests, and like think about how big of an impact that will have on the planet. Just this one team, this one campaign, if we can get Denver voters to vote yes next year.
Awesome. So, well, just in closing, we're aiming for the November 2022 ballot. So we're going to find out here, I think in 30 days, where we're at and if we're on the ballot or not. But what we do know is in 2017, we put green roofs on the ballot. And we took on big money and we won by 2 points. We passed 2A for parks and healthy food for kids. We understand that these environmental sustainable solutions are about environmental justice. It's not about corporations and chemical responses to climate change. And we came back with Resilient Denver, an energy tax, and collected nearly 10,000 in 40 days. And I'm here to say today that we collected 11,000 in about 40 days. And so the people of Denver want climate action. We're willing to do it with a small group of people. And so again, we're calling out to our leaders that the plans call for it and the people are calling for it. Let's let you make the policy instead of making us put our lives on the line for COVID. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I'd love to add that we were at over 50 shows at Levitt Pavilion this summer. At City Park Jazz. And the response from the community, both in Denver and in the metropolitan area, is overwhelming. People recognize that they have some internal recognition when they are out that they need to be putting things in the right bins to recycle, to compost. And with over 40% of Denver's waste being produced that's compostable, it's catastrophic, the impact that this measure can have when we vote yes on it in 2022.
Cool. Couple questions, guys. First of all, can you detail exactly what businesses and restaurants and apartments would have to do under this if it passed? They don't have to do now.
They would have to implement recycling and composting and education programs, in particular for apartment and multifamily. It phases in with the largest units, largest apartment buildings, and then it scales in over several years. And then for businesses, they have to provide recycling. If they're a food-producing business, like a restaurant, a hotel, they have to have composting. They have to burn their waste.
And I think that this is, it's important to think about this in the big picture, Steve, because if we are having composting at the schools at the educational level, the earliest level, in just a decade or so, the entire city will learn these practices, right? And that's a key factor. Not every apartment is going to have, they're not going to remodel their buildings, but they're going to get rid of a trash dumpster for a recycling dumpster. And maybe the new buildings that get built that should last well into the 100s, maybe those buildings will have the access that we would want to live with recycling chutes or compost bins on our apartment buildings.
And And then with green roofs, I know that the city council kind of revised that heavily. Do you think that could happen again this time?
We did a fair amount of stakeholding with this. The government plans call for it. We've met with the city agencies. It's always a wild card on what the businesses convince the council members to do. But we need them to be brave and stand up to corporations and follow the plans.
Okay. And then one technical thing, is there anything that would be harder to do about that since this is going into the city charter, right?
No, this is just an ordinance.
This is just,
Yeah. All right.
Any other questions?
All right, we're good.
Thanks for being on here. Yeah, thank you. Yay!
Logistical thing here, the pre-COVID days, you just hand them across the counter, or now we've got to mark them up over the glass. We have a couple of options. You can either hand truck them and roll them back.
I carry that box for like almost.
I think we all should be.
Or you can each all grab one and walk it back.
That's a picture going up over the
Yes, muscle. A muscle moment. Okay, those are 100, 200, 300.
Here, you want to hold that? You can use a handle like a grip.
Are you sure? You want to go? Are we going around? We're going over.
I think it'd be amazing. Look at this.
We were ready. You trash service on Sunday. This is not 50.
They're joking with us. You got you.
I had it.
Like, we do a big old trash bag. Normally, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Think of what you could run on your own now.
I thought I got a lot with green roofs. I got like 350.
What else do we need to do?
And I was like, I got some money.
Yes.
We need a way, and then they're gonna go through and tell us exactly how we trained there.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. We'll sit around and enjoy it. But you won't, folks, because I'm saving my battery for later. Thanks for hanging out with us.
okay. You guys good?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you so much for coming through.
Definitely